Viewer discretion is advised.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Wow. Hello. Hello, Graham.
Hi. Hi, Graham.
How are we?
Hello, Mr. Ben. How are you today?
Oh, not too bad, actually, mate. I am pretty good. Guess what, Graham? I just bought this drink, flask, the other day. No, was it today? No, it was today. What was I talking about? It was from a place called Ben&Grem, right? And I picked it up, and it says R on it, Graham. And I thought to myself, what would that stand for? It could be anything. It could be Rain, couldn't it? It could be Ralph. It's certainly nothing to do with me. So I thought, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it's not what's on the outside that counts, it's what's on the inside, isn't it? So,
Yes, very true.
useful information.
Yeah, it can mean many things.
Just for the topic.
Pointless news.
Pointless news.
Yeah, you can, Lee. Thank you. Lee is in the chat. He says echo. Well, I have got a parrot. Once. I did have a parrot, I should say. But, Graham, you could be a good parrot of mine, couldn't you? We don't normally copy each other, do we, usually?
No. I do know of a parrot, though, and a parrot's very noisy.
You got what?
Noisy.
I wash my hair, folks.
Yes, it looks tidy.
Thank you. Well, Graham, what have you been up to? Have you been behaving yourself? Have you been busy?
Well, yeah, I've been quite busy today. I've been planning lots of things to do for the show. Been keeping myself extremely busy. Slight issue with setting up, but I'm all ready to go. Well, I believe I am.
Well, that's all that matters, isn't it?
What about you, Ben?
We have been on the ball, Graham, haven't we, today? We've been busy, both of us. But that's it, see? Some things need preparation, don't they? The show needs preparation, guys. And I think we've done extremely well, Graham, haven't we, to make it count. So, Graham, we've got some viewers in. Graham is clear, Lee says. Always. He's always clear, aren't you, Graham? You are clear as day, you are.
I'm pleased it's clear because of the issue with the microphone last time. So
always clear.
I'm pleased that it's working fine.
Indeed. There is a way I can sort this, guys. Just bear with me.
Okay.
Hold your horses. But yeah, it's been an interesting day because it's been warm, guys. Got to say, I was sweating. How can somebody sweat and not doing anything? You know, that's crazy, Graham, isn't it?
Maybe it's too much alcohol in your bloodstream.
Well, I don't really drink, but I've drunk a lot of tea today. I drink a little bit, guys, but I'm not quite that bad, Graham, yet. I think. Do you get more involved with alcohol as you get older? Do you think is that a thing? Do you get more involved with alcohol as you get older? Do you think?
Yes, I suppose. You know, to soak away the troubles of the day, the stresses of the day. You know, a drink here and there will maybe help it, but too much is not good, is it?
Too much of everything or anything is not good. I mean, you've got to be, haven't you, Graham? You've got to be sensible, haven't you, when it comes to alcohol, because you've only got a number of organs. And you've got to look after them. You can't always swap out a liver. I don't think you can swap liver, actually, can you, Graham?
No. Well, I believe, no, definitely not. I think it's been attempted. I don't know. We'll have to look up on that. That's quite an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I don't know why you bring these sort of things up when we don't really know the answer to.
Exactly. Graham, I'm just going to pass over to you for a very short while I quite sort out this echo. All right. So over to you, Graham. Talk to the viewers about how you've been doing today, and I'll take it away again in the next 2 minutes. All right.
No, okay, mate. Right, hello, everyone. Yes, I've been busy today, as I said earlier, with structuring the show, arranging over the past couple of days in doing that. I'm pretty slow with it because, as Ben said in the previous episode, I am a bit of a perfectionist and maybe take a bit too much time on things, but I just want to make sure that, you know, the viewing pleasure is okay for everyone viewing, and especially for Ben as well, because he does put an awful lot of effort in on the production side. He's got a lot going in on his end, so I need to obviously do what I can do because I'm not that great with technology. So been reading up today on all the topics. I mean, how is it possible to give yourself brain freeze without eating ice cream? It's been a controlled, stressful day, but I do believe that the effort that I've personally put in today for my own being is hopefully going to reflect better for you guys and will aid the show. So, how far's Ben got?
Interesting that, Graham. Not very.
What seems to be the issue? Not that I can help, but what's the issue?
Yeah, no, sorry Lee, there's going to have to be a small echo, I'm afraid. There is nothing we can do on this end. Simply the reason being is that I have, as you can probably see, Graham, I'm not on the screen at the minute. I have, what do I have now? Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I have a headset, and it's Bluetooth, right? And so it says it's connected, but for some reason, it's the left channel is actually turning off on us, guys. And because the left channel is turning off on us, and the right channel is still on, it's not keeping a constant Bluetooth connection. It keeps switching off. I've just checked the battery power, and it seems to be powered up. So, guys, that's going to be an issue, I'm afraid. If I can't get the headphone working, then I'm going to have to listen to you, Graham, through my wonderful monitor. Unfortunately to say.
If it's got to be, it's got to be.
Well, that's it.
I do have a set of Bluetooth earbuds here, but I can't really pass them down.
No, you can't.
Can
yeah. Exactly.
And they're fully charged.
But you know what, Graham? It is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. We can only do what we can do, guys. So
I think, Lee, your echo will be minimal now. Unfortunately, I can't get rid of it. It's just not going to work. I need to know what this man is saying. Don't I, Graham?
Well, there's nothing else you can do.
What could it be?
Can you turn the? Do you want me to turn my volume down my end?
You
Will it
don't
help?
need to do that, Graham. It's not your end. You're fine. It's my end. But in order for me to hear you, I need you on my monitor. Otherwise, there's no point. Otherwise, I won't be able to hear you at all. And if I can't hear you, I can't talk with you. And if I can't talk with you, it's just well, you know, it all breaks down, doesn't it? I need some headphones, guys. That's what I need. This man needs some headphones. Anyhow, I will have a look at those later, and I'll work out what's going on.
I suppose,
But right now,
everyone, we're going to have to start a crowdfund, aren't we?
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah. Well, yeah, respect to Graham, Lee says. Absolutely. Full respect for him. Graham, it takes two, as I said before. The Ben&Grem Show is not the Ben&Grem Show if it isn't for the two of us working very hard, is it?
Exactly. I'm trying to make the best of my abilities and insecurities in certain areas as well, because I just don't want it to come across too bad for the viewer, as I said not so long ago, and for yourself, Ben. It's important that I make this as comfortable as possible for everyone, including yourself. So I am trying, and I am getting there. I believe I am.
Yeah. Well, all I can say on the matter is, Grem, is that we keep pushing on, we keep striving to achieve, and I think if every single week that goes by, that's what happens. It does. It works that way, doesn't it? We are aspiring, we are making better of it, and it wouldn't work without the viewers. So thank you to the viewers. Lots going on at the moment, Grem. Firstly, I just want to say welcome to the Ben&Grem Show. It's Tuesday evening. We've had a wonderful week, haven't we, Grem? We're back for another episode, just for you, and we've been looking forward to it, Grem, haven't we? Because we have, as like normal, we've got many things on the agenda to discuss. And Grem, it's up to you, really. Should we go straight into our first topic?
Yes, I suppose I should say good evening to everyone as well. I can't believe we've missed that out. But never mind.
Never mind. But the thing is, though, Grem, I mean, obviously that's what happens, isn't it? Because the viewers get going and that's it. We start getting thrown. But I will say, Grem, Lee has said that he believes it could be potentially a sound issue on your side. I thought it was more my side, to be fair, because of maybe the delay in sound. And that, but that's what happens, you see, because of the internet. The internet will do this stuff. Sometimes there's only so much the man or woman on the end of the technology can do, and there's certain elements of technology that cannot be changed, and you just have to go with it. So unfortunately to say, there is a slight echo, not that I can hear it because we're live, but you guys might, and I'm sorry if you can, because it must be hugely distracting. But Lee, thank you very much again, always, for your persistence and your help in any case. Sorry, Grem, so wait, I'm waffling, Grem. You need to take it away from me.
Yeah, waffle away. Isn't it? Waffles, yeah.
Waffle.
I haven't had waffles for ages. So anyway, recently we.
Grem, sorry, I'm going to waffle again. Can I just say, Grem, before we get going though, I did mention about this. What is this about? Right? Why does that say R? What is that, guys? Does anybody know what that R is? It just says R. It's hardly personalised because I mean nobody's called R, but it's really annoying actually, and it was never annoying to me until the other half indoors said, "Why did you get an R?" I'm thinking, well, I didn't really notice that. And she said, well, there's hardly a personalised mug. And I said, but I don't care what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside that counts. But the point being is, I picked it up because it was just a travel mug, and I thought I like these because I take them around everywhere. I travel with these quite regularly. So, Graham, do you know the answer to that? What's R? Do you know?
No.
No.
No idea.
It's not important, is it?
Did they have other letters as well?
No. And it didn't even say personalised mug either. So one could be confused. I mean, they're triangles on the mug, but that's it. I don't know. That makes sense. It's really bizarre. Anyway, Graham, sorry, I am waffling.
It certainly is.
I need to get over to you.
That's okay. We'll get straight. Yep, thank you. You can waffle, mate. Occasionally, it's fine. I'm used to it now. So. As everyone knows, recently the government instructed us from early hours of Monday morning about the Rule of Six. Basically, there's a probability that this coming Friday there's likely to be a UK-wide curfew, which is either going to be between the hours of 2200 or 2300 hours until between 5 in the morning or 6 o'clock. This is to help stem the flow, to cut the flow of the infection rate at the moment, because it has peaked quite high. We are instructed to basically remain at home during these hours. The people were individuals out there that basically have to work for the community, for mental health, for working in hospitals, the frontline workers, the chaps and the ladies out there that help with deliveries. They will still obviously have their working hours, but for the majority of us, there is likely to be a curfew this coming Friday. So more will be known on that. The source basically stated the reason for this, it was due to the infection rate, which has, as I said, heightened recently quite substantially. They're hoping that the curfew will basically help stem this, as I said. I've just repeated myself again, haven't I? The government are also looking into how Belgium dealt with their increase of the coronavirus infection rate back in the early summer, and how they basically dealt along with that, and the great response that they got from it, the positivity from it. So they're actually looking into working along something similar with that as well. So there's a possibility of further lockdowns, etc., on the horizon, which we will go into a little bit further on in a following topic. So there's also the events as well within South Korea and Hong Kong, where they've managed to keep the R rate extremely low, and the government is also looking into areas there as well to see if it's the possibility of initiating some of the procedures that they were operating over there to control that. So that's that basically. Ben, do you have anything to say on the topic?
Yeah, Graham, I found that thoroughly interesting, and it's again an ongoing subject, isn't it? Coronavirus, and many places, regardless of the country you live in, are doing various different things to mitigate further infection. What is interesting, Graham, is that, and I will say this at least, is that it seems that people are experiencing different situations upon different areas of which they live. So what we do know is as you say, is we've got places like Bolton, for example, that are going into sort of independent lockdowns, if you like. We've got, as we knew the other week, we had Leicester again seeing a similar situation where they were keeping people locked in, if you like, or locked away, not locked away literally, but curfewed, if you like. And Jeremy Hunt has... no, it's not Jeremy Hunt, actually, although he has had conversations on the matter, but I'm not talking about Jeremy Hunt for the moment, but I will say Matt Hancock has said that there has been a rise in cases, especially among young people. Graham, have you got me rather loud? Sorry, can I just hold that for a moment? Have you got me rather loud on your end, actually? Because I can now hear that echo. Sorry, guys. Am I blasting out on your sound?
You were slightly.
Okay, yeah.
How's it now?
Good.
Better?
Yes. Please, guys, if you can, just let us know whether that's changed anything. I wasn't sure what the situation was. Lee did say it might be Graham's end, but I honestly and truthfully thought it was mine. Doesn't matter now, because if we've rectified it, we've rectified it. That's the most important thing. Can't believe it's 80 years since the Battle of Britain. Andrew says. Sorry, I've completely come off track. Graham, I will pull myself back in. Sorry, and thank you, Graham, for that, because I think we might have fixed it. But so yes. So Matt Hancock, as I referenced, he has said that there has been a rise in cases amongst younger individuals. Now, once upon a time, of course, Graham, it was told, wasn't it, that actually young generation, or the younger generation, were not likely to become necessarily infectious as such, but or even actually to be considered high risk. When they were talking about schools, weren't they, about youngsters not necessarily having to, at the beginning particularly, be as much of a threat because of the age and because of, I suppose, their immune system can be more robust, as to where maybe you could say the elderly in particular have a very weaker immune system, and of course that can then affect them more indefinitely, in particular if like youngsters are around them. So that's why I suppose it was more important, I suppose, at the time for the older generation, to do all this self-isolation. But Graham, we know now, don't we, that we've got all the schools going back. In fact, they've all gone back now, haven't they, for the last week or two, some of which are maybe a little bit earlier. But now we're starting to say that we're going to introduce potentially independent area lockdowns, and we've already seen that already happen, Graham. Again, it makes me wonder, it's all a bit back to front, isn't it? Don't you think?
Well, I suppose they are trying to stem the effect of it, mate. Within the areas where there's spikes, they're trying to close the entry route for any more to sort of gather and to pass down the line into different areas. So whatever they can do to help stem that flow in that direction, I suppose is what's necessary.
Yeah. Well, Grem, I will say, one thing in particular for me, and I'm talking from, I think it's fair to say, the general folk, right? Now, we talked about Bolton and issuing a independent lockdown. But the lockdown is required to be that areas of such general business, if you like, or areas of general lifestyle that might be whether you're going to the gym or whether you're going to a local bar or whatever you might do in an evening, they are suggesting that everyone needs to be away in their homes at 10 o'clock. It's like a curfew, basically. Like, you must be in by 10. And it's understood to be for consideration in Bradford, particularly at the moment. But of course, Bolton again has been a subject of this. And you've got to ask yourself, Graham, how much will the people take? Because we are at the end of the day free. As like Russell Crowe would say, we're free to our last breath. Hang on, is that right? Is that Russell Crowe? We're free from our first breath, not from our last breath. I got that wrong. But you get my drift, Graham, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. We just need to do our bit, even though it's difficult. We obviously we've never had to, the majority of us have not had to deal with anything like this, with the restrictions and the regulations put in place. We just haven't dealt with it before, so it's overpowering, it's smothering, and no one's going to like it, but it's basically, we need to put up with it for now.
Yeah.
At least we need to do our bit.
We do, and I think one thing I think that is quite worrying when we think about the professionals, if you like, the people at the top, making these decisions, is that they are making these decisions. Like, for example, they're talking about coronavirus obviously potentially becoming a second spike. We could end up having a potential second lockdown, although the government have said they don't really want to go down that route. But Graham, we hear things like 6 people in a crowd, and no more than 6 people in a crowd. And at the same time we hear this, we hear schools are going back to normal functions. I say normal, there are a few alterations within their working days, but of course they're going back. And of course, I'm hearing people on the street say to me, but hang on, think about this. Nothing's been said about potential marches. No one said you can't do a march. Nobody said you can't do a gathering as such, but only unless you go to places like bars and clubs. Or pubs. So much as clubs aren't exactly active at the moment because of the obvious factor of coronavirus, and you can't really social distance in a club. That's kind of defeats the object. But Graham, you know what I mean? You have to ask yourself. It's a bit contradictive, isn't it? Because if you're going to do this curfew,
with in regards to the protesting side, yes, that really is not acceptable. Yes, people will just have to hold fire on that for now, and do it by other means. But meeting in large groups to protest at this moment in time is just not acceptable, in my view, and I feel it's probably in the majority's view. Now, in regards with schools have already adapted to the way and life is at the moment with regards to this pandemic. So they have in place the necessary procedures and guidance for their staff and their pupils. They have together the necessary equipment, and they also have staggered break times, staggered lunch times. The lunch times have been cut down slightly in duration to around about 20 minutes, I believe, from my daughter's school. And the same with, for example, with year groups. It's, if a specific year group only mingles with that year group. So if there's an issue within that year group, then that's where the segregation will basically come in. At the end of the school day, everything and everywhere is highly sterilised. It's cleaned, and that's the whole process to do with educational establishments.
Well,
I do believe as well it will be the same then for universities and certain premises that we visit during the day, like I don't know, Weatherspoons maybe within the sample there, and some small restaurants or large restaurants, that they will have in place the protocols now to do with coronavirus. So yeah, so take it away, Ben.
Yeah, well, Graham, thank you, because you really just tidied that up for me, and for the viewers more in particular. You know, I mentioned Jeremy Hunt, didn't I? And that was something I wanted to raise, because although I did start to raise him, it wasn't him I wanted to initially talk of, it was actually Matt Hancock. But anyway, we'll get back to the moment of talking about Jeremy Hunt. And Jeremy Hunt has said that in the Commons, the chair of the Commons, he's the chair of the Commons Health and Social Care Select Committee, has said that the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, he says that if ministers start again, shall I? Graham, what on earth is that?
Oh, come on. I'll do it in a moment anyway, and I've already repeated myself one time.
Yeah, Graham,
at the start, so
that was hilarious.
Fine. It's fine.
Let's start again, shall we?
Fine.
Multitask, that is, and I'm struggling. Yeah, so basically, I'm talking and thinking at the same time. I'm trying to do 3 different things at the moment. It's ridiculous. Don't do it, guys. Just do what you know you can do, and move on. Yes. So Matt Hancock, who's the Health Secretary. Well, I'll start again, shall I? He has said if ministers will look to South Korea and Hong Kong as an example of good practice for stemming an increase in cases and avoid a second lockdown. So what I'm finding quite interesting here, Graham, is that, you know, when you take the Great Britain and Northern Ireland, United Kingdom as a whole, we are quite independent in the way that we do things. You know, people do look to us for examples, you know, about how maybe we'd tackle any situation. I think also you could look at America as well. You know, we're sort of dominating countries, aren't we, really? I mean, people look up to us. But for the first time, I think I've certainly noticed this, is that, you know, you've got the UK now almost seeking for help elsewhere, almost like you say, Hong Kong or South Korea has been mentioned. You know, looking for other examples.
At what they've achieved reasonably at quite a pace, you know, to get their levels down and to keep them down. Once they realised that there was a spike, they put the necessary protocols in place, and it seemed to work for them. But then it's a different culture.
Yeah.
It's a different way of life. It may not work here.
No, it might not, and that's it, Graham. And you make a very good point. You see, what might be good in Hong Kong or South Korea might not actually be very, very good for us here. Because I'll be honest with you, talking from again a general folk point of view, is you're going to get always, aren't you, certain people that will agree that we need to be sterner and more stiffer with any arrangements that we make around coronavirus and trying to protect each other, and then you've got others that are completely against the whole thing and actually just do not like this idea that we're going to end up having national curfews. I mean, because, you know, again, we are in 2020 now, and you would never have thought, would you, that we'd be looking to a day like today where we're talking about potential changes upon how we live our lives and go about our lives freely. And there are lots and lots of theories we understand to hear at the moment coming about coronavirus, and as much as we know it is serious, and we've known that actually it's caused significant death, which is awful. On the other hand, I say that, Graham, it's also been said by some that actually we've seen more deaths each year in flu's viruses than we have in coronavirus. So that's an interesting concept to take in. And bearing in mind, I don't think the two diseases or symptoms, should we say, are too far from each other. So it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
No, it is the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's a coronavirus. The common cold is from, if you'd like to say, the same connection, the same family virus. So, but the coronavirus is new, you know, and we're still learning it. We're still learning the process of it, how it connects with people, how it adapts with with different individuals. It seems to have more an effect on Asian people, doesn't it? For some reason, it has that connection where it can be more harmful. But then we've had the same sort of situation within this country as well.
Yeah.
I did actually read an article, and I don't do much reading. I did read this article a couple of weeks ago, and I was going to bring it up at a previous show, but it's all, brain freeze, off it went. But a gentleman that passed away, I believe in 2015, his body basically was basically given another post-mortem, and the information that came from that was that he actually had coronavirus, which apparently is the first case known of the virus before any of us, even the governments around the world, knew. So
yeah,
someone's telling not telling the truth, are they?
They're not. And Graham, I just want to make a point to the viewers as well, as we're here live and we are talking about this very, I would say, delicate subject, if you like, whichever way you look at it, because it is in some eyes. I would say, and please be sure this, viewers, that actually we are not trained or professional in this area. And so what we say is opinion-based only, and it means nothing, all right, to you guys. I mean, it's, again, a conversation that we're merely having, simply because we wouldn't want anybody getting mixed messages from us, particularly, on what they do or don't do around any information they receive from the, i.e. government or otherwise. So it is purely opinion based. But Graham, I want to pick up on a couple of comments that are coming in, because
the information we bring up,
is that okay, Graham? Sorry.
On the coronavirus, Ben, is documented evidence that we've actually researched. So it is exact. We're not making our own opinions. We're not telling people how to get rid of the coronavirus, because how do we know?
Well, we don't know. Precisely, Graham. You're absolutely right.
We've touched this last time and the time before.
We did. But Lee said, Graham, he says he has a completely different way to look at this. He says this is apparently a pandemic affecting in such a way that is only done. We are affected in this in a way, that is only been done when we have been at war. He also says we didn't. Why didn't the government, just have or behave, should we say, like wartime? Shut down the media and stop creating hysteria, offering a whole range of conflicting stories, and just take charge. Well, Lee, thanks for that, because it's a very good point. Sorry, I made a bit of a tiswas of that. Tiswas, Grim. Who uses that word? Tiswas.
Tiswas.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's the same as anything, though, isn't it, Lee? I mean, he's right in what he says there, Graham, because, I mean, the media can have control over a lot of things, because most people that, let's just say, don't care about anything, right? They go to work, they get up, they go to work, they go home, they eat their dinner, and they go to bed, and they do the same again the next day, right? They hear a story that they've heard in the press, and there are people out there that take it as read. That's what they heard, that's what it's got to be the case, right? Someone wrote it, so it's got to be said to be true. And that's where the problem goes. That's where things go wrong, because some people aren't interested to want to go out and find the information. So with that, you get opinions being made collectively. And when it comes to things like politics, you've got difference of opinion, but yet actually you can tell almost from certain people you speak to just how much information they really know about something, but what they believe in. And you think, well, hang on, I know what you're saying because I've read this article, but what do you know about it? Nothing. You're just saying that that's what you believe in because that's what you've read. And that's the difference, you see, and people will do that. And that's what the media know. They know, don't they? They know they can draw a crowd in. They can say what they need to say based on what they maybe are led to believe, or what they are led to be told to believe, or led to put out, should we say. And yet with that, they know they can work the news and manufacture a direction. So, yeah, you've got... Do you know what I mean, Graham?
Yes.
I mean, it does appear to me that not a lot of people like Mr. Trump. the president of the United States of America. But with that said, you're always going to get news that will run him down, make him out to be something he's not.
No.
But that happens in all types of media. Some would say certain directions of media is stronger than others, but that's down to the individual to decide. But just be aware that media is media. If you want your news, go and find it, because every piece of news will have a clue, and every piece of news will have an answer. You just got to find it, and it won't be the very first paper you pick up, and it won't be the first thing you read either. Just that's kind of a good tip, I think, to go forward. That's my motto. Isn't it, Grem?
Yeah.
What about you?
Yep. Totally with you on that one, mate.
But Grem,
We need to move on.
We do,
need
and
to
I was just
move
going to
on.
say, sticking with coronavirus, Grem, we are still on the subject, but you have a slightly different pitch on this, don't you?
You throw me now, Mr. Glazer.
Have I? It's the new rules that are going to be brought in Friday. Have we just touched on that?
Yeah, you've just oh, back in the room. Back in the room, everyone. Oh my gosh.
What happened
Yeah.
there, Grem?
Yeah. I don't know. I sort of just disappeared. I just sort of had like a visual
Oh,
now.
You're saying you just
moment,
disappeared.
and-
I thought I just disappeared. I thought I just done something wrong. I thought I'm not quite with the track here, with the schedule. I do apologise.
No. The second point is a continuation. It sort of runs in quite well, actually. It goes into a bit more depth to do with the rule of six, whilst out, keeping in a group of 6 people with social distancing. Also, the government has stated that weddings and funerals can still go ahead, but they are limited to a rule of 30, again with social distancing taken into consideration. Recently, just on the weekend just passed, a teenager was fined £10,000 for holding a party at her home with nearly 50 people present. So she, I believe, she was fined £10,000. How that's going to be paid as a teenager, I have no idea, but I'm sure there'll be some sort of form of instalment. I don't know if anyone feels that was a right thing to do or not, but I believe a strong stance needs to be taken. The younger generation do need to realise that they're not protected by this virus. They're also affected as well by it, and they can possibly be carriers and take this on to less fortunate people that are unable to protect themselves because of age and other medical conditions. So it's important that they take note and just chill out, just ride the storm for now. I know it must be difficult for them, but it needs to be done. Venues also at them from Friday as well will be now taking names, your full name, a contact telephone number, the date that you arrive within the venue, so of a restaurant or pub or a shopping mall of some description, and also the time that you've actually left as a possibility, if it's possible to be able to do so.
Yeah.
So that's what they're going to be having to take down by government rulings, and the government have had to look into and also adjust the law, the data protection, to be able to make that possible. So that is coming into effect. So when you go into a restaurant or a venue of some other description, you will have to leave your full name, contact telephone number, just in case someone is reported to have developed the virus, they can then notify individuals that are being within that area at a specific time and date. So it's there for protection, not there to use for any other purposes, even though some people may believe that that could be a possibility. But I'm sure that it will come with safeguards to do with data protection anyway, that the premises that hold this information will have to hold it within a locked cabinet, for example. It would have to be kept safe that way, and only a certain amount of known individuals will have access to that, which will be needed. So that's what's happening there. I don't know what you feel on that, Ben.
But Grem, no, great again. Thank you for your piece on that, because you're absolutely right in what you're saying. Of course, we do know that there are going to be more stringent rules coming into place. What I want to just make a point of again, and you touched on this because you said about data protection, and what we know, of course, is, do you remember PPI? Now, that weren't that long ago. I mean, how stringent that was, and how local authorities in particular, even they have restrictions around holding data. And what I find bizarre is, as much as we knew that it was extremely tight, PPI and the way that you go about business and communication, even with friends, all of a sudden now we are expected, and I think it's fair to say it's not a choice, and it will be mandatory, but we are expected, and some places have already started doing this, to leave our details down. Now, I understand totally, Graham. I totally understand why we're doing that, and I can understand that if there are any situations or cases that people can be alerted and notified and to go into self-isolation. I get it. I totally get it. But to you and I, and to many people, do we have a choice to say no? And on that basis, if you say no, just saying hypothetically now, if you say no, I don't want to give you my number or my details.
You do, yes. You. I missed that bit out.
Would you then? Yeah, but Graham, I'm just saying, if you were to do that, would you then be stopped from going into that premises?
It's down to the proprietor of the premises.
Right.
The government aren't actually enforcing that. They're hoping that the British public will abide, but we've seen the result there, haven't we? So. It would not surprise me at all if eventually the government actually do enforce that as well. But it's down to the proprietor of the business to decide whether the person comes in or not. Because don't forget that they've got their own staff and other customers to consider here, their own health as well. So they take the choice. Do they allow the individual that's refused to come in or not?
Well, yeah, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? But again, there's got to be other ways, maybe, or maybe this is the way. Lee says, a social credit system, perhaps. I mean, what we do know, certainly, Lee, don't we? We know, and the viewers, that when you go into places like clubs and bars, I keep saying clubs and bars, it always comes together. When we go into pubs, we have to, don't we now, pay with a card. They don't tend to like you paying with cash. I mean, I know still some places are taking notes, but they prefer you not to now, I think it's fair to say. So bear that in mind.
Yeah.
I think because of the cross of handling money and things like that. But Graham, with coronavirus, I mean, there has been talks, hasn't there, over time. I'm actually jumping into another topic here, Graham, the very next topic, but basically on the same subject of coronavirus, it does sort of flow in.
Well, we can move on to the next topic, can't we?
It's exactly the right moment for it, because I was just going to say that although we know that the government have have announced the possibility, but not necessarily likely, but the possibility that we could fall into another lockdown, as like we did back in March. As much as the Conservative government don't want to do this, and they hope and believe that actually the UK British public will actually comply, and hopefully we'll see a drop in cases and not so much a further spike, then we won't have to go down that route. But in the event of having to do so,
you need a very high percentage of the population to do so.
Yes.
I'm not going to stipulate or even guess the percentage, because there'll be certain people out there that may get to view this and think, oh, well, I'll be one of that percent then. But, at the end of the day, everyone needs to adhere to this. It's about their health, their loved ones.
Well, Graham, on the subject of lockdowns, it's been said, or it's understood to be known, that actually Europe, they are, or parts of Europe we should say, are basically trying to, control the surge in coronavirus cases, and they're trying their very hardest almost to avoid a hard lockdown. Similarly, like we had back in March this year, and I think, for many sakes, I think, given the fact that we know that actually it could be very detrimental to the UK, not just the UK, but other areas around the globe, if you wish, of their economies, because simply we cannot, I think, afford to fall back into another economy stretch of a lockdown. I think we need to continue our economy thriving, because all the while it's going to be important for us, particularly around Brexit. And I didn't want to touch on politics, but I'm going to say, I will say this at least, that some have said, all right, it's just some of the vibes I'm picking up. Some have said, because I had this conversation with somebody recently, Graham. I said, maybe it's something to do with Brexit. Now, this is very, very conspiracy theory based, right? Okay, and it's not necessarily something I absolutely generally believe, but, just thinking slightly outside the box here. If you take Brexit and in January we leave areas of it's with the withdrawal agreement comes into effect, doesn't it? So we are leaving the legislational based areas of control, if you wish, from Europe. And some have said, but actually no, how can the coronavirus have anything to do with Brexit? Brexit's about the UK. I thought, interesting. But actually had to thought of this. Because Brexit is not just about the UK. It's about the world. How is it? Because actually I'm talking trade, Graham. Because we have to make trade across the whole entire world, outside of the European zone, economic market. And for that reason, if there is, should we say, hysteria, call it that if you will, around coronavirus, at a very crucial time where governments are working towards a solution, towards a best deal for both parties, if there are areas of economy in areas of countries that are suffering because of a lockdown, actually countries are then not going to want to talk about trade. They are going to want to look after their own initiatives, and in result are going to want to put back a further negotiation and potentially a further more delay. And it will put more pressure, I think, on the government from the Labour Party or the backbenches, or even in fact the opposition, whoever they may be at that given time, put more pressure on the government to actually, yes, extend some transition period, which I'm pretty sure if it came up, the European Union, although they are playing hardball and saying we must come up to an agreement, I'm pretty sure they would roll over and do it. So, Graham, again, that's a huge conspiracy, guys. Okay, and I'm just putting it out there, but I'm just kind of wondering, because there was a lot of people now saying about whether they actually believe in this whole thing, whether actually it's about the New World Order, and you hear it all, don't you? Doesn't matter what you believe in necessarily, whether you believe it or you don't. It's just it's what you hear, and it does make you think, Graham, doesn't it?
Oh yes, it does. But at the end of the day, we need to, even though it's difficult,
yes,
we need to put our faith in the government of the time and with their advisors. It's what we've got to do. We've got no other choice.
No,
really.
We have,
shout and moan and write letters and send emails, or go on a protest when you shouldn't do.
No.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Whatever you believe in, we still got to be responsible in any case. And what we do know, of course, is, Graham, is that it's been suggested 1,500 daily cases that have been registered in August this year, which is, well, not that long ago.
Yes, it was late August, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And also Europe, they've overtaken America now with 27,000 cases.
Yeah.
Even though America, the USA, hold the majority single nation daily case of 26,000.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Europe is now known as the COVID-19
Interesting.
hotspot.
I mean, it doesn't surprise you when Well,
Oh, I must also state that the UK's figures actually do come within that as well. Ben.
yeah, of course it
They're
does.
actually in with that 27,000. It's not just the rest of Europe, it's also us as well.
Well, this is kind of where we have to be kind of careful about how we look about what we see ourselves as, because whilst members of the European Union, we're seen as Europeans ourselves. Some would say we're still European despite the fact that we left the European Union because we're in Europe. Europe being the area of the continent. Although we're not technically anymore, but it depends on which way you look at it. We are still, I suppose, European, aren't we, Graham? I mean, that's a conversation.
Well,
guys.
I've never classed myself as a European. I've always classed myself as British. Some people say that, why don't I class myself as English? I class myself as from the United Kingdom. I class myself as British. I always have done.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, after all, we're English, Graham, and then you've got British, which, as you know, makes up the whole United Kingdom, doesn't it? Scotland,
Yeah.
Ireland, England, and Wales, and anybody that has decided to move to the UK to live is considered British if they get full citizenship. There wouldn't be English, Irish, Scottish, or Welsh because they don't come from
it
England,
goes
Ireland,
down as
Scotland, and
British
Wales.
on your passport, doesn't it? Your nationality,
Yeah.
British.
So we are English, we are British. We're both of those,
Yeah.
but we're English. Is that correct? Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, we just say British, don't we? I think it just kind of it's a generalised statement, isn't it? I'm British, British white, Graham.
Exactly. What other points have you? Did you research on this topic? Have you finished?
I have, but I can go back to it, Graham, if you
Oh
wish.
well, no. Well, I've picked up on just a couple of other things that you've mentioned. I thought this would happen. We would end up like getting similar sort of ideas. So, but the UK government minister has stated that 20 people out of 100,000 at the moment are actively testing positive for COVID-19, which is a bit of a concern. So it has peaked up tremendously, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And Graham, I mean, and that's a very good point because again, whatever you believe in, whether you believe in COVID-19 or you don't, or whatever conspiracy or not you follow, the fact is that we have seen a change, haven't we? Or at least that's what's been reported. We had a lockdown, didn't we? And it looked as if we were getting control with the whole thing. I think a lot of people were a little bit frightened by the whole thing. I think a lot of people were seeing this as a very worrying time and scary time because nobody really knew anything about this virus. Until it started to establish itself, and of course, people started.
I mean, the first week or so for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, fortunate enough that I was able still to go to my shift. I work within the mental health sector, so I was able to still do that. So I didn't really go into a full sort of lockdown myself due to my line of work. The same as yourself, Ben, isn't it? So. Yes, so you were still able to do a reasonable amount of away time from home as well.
Yeah.
So, but for other people, after a few weeks, it was starting to get a bit tedious in a way. Not many people spend that amount of time with their loved ones without wanting to throttle each other. But I don't know how you feel on that, but it must have caused quite a lot of strain for people, a lot of relationships.
Well, I think so because let's be honest. I mean, to the general man and woman on the street, I mean, we all have responsibilities in our lives to go out and do things such as work and family commitments. And as much as we have relationships with these people, as much as we're married, we are living around these people all the time. And of course, yeah, that can pull one's hair out.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And of course, I think it's fair to say, Graham, that even given normal day or night of a living circumstance, you live with that person, but then tomorrow, actually, I've got to go to work. So you get that time away, and it's good for both of you. But that whole lockdown process, it was a strange time because everybody was under each other's roofs, and the point is nobody really had the opportunity to get away. And you're right. And actually, you get
to probably learn each other more.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that people get to really understand each other, don't they?
Oh no! When this lockdown first happened, if I went out the house, as soon as I come back in, I was marched on. I had to go and like take a shower. Yeah, I went through.
Wash your hands.
all that. Honestly, it's like march to it. It's like in, shower, fresh clothes, done.
Yeah,
It's what-
do you know what kind of worries me a little bit though, Graham, with the whole thing of coronavirus is that from my personal experience, and I'm not going to mention areas of which I've experienced these situations, but I'm going to say that it appears nowadays, I say nowadays, I'm talking about the now, about how I feel people are looking about coronavirus and how they are responding to what they are understanding to hear and how they're being affected and how they're going about their life as how it's affecting them personally. What I will say is, as much as it's now known by many of us to when we want to go to shops and so on, we have to wear face masks, and it's kind of almost very much a mandatory. They will not let you in certain places.
I've seen quite a lot of face masks being worn. I very rarely have seen many people without. So yeah.
True. But it does make you wonder, because although you might see that, you don't see that with people necessarily. My point I was coming to, when they're not in shops. So it's almost like, well, actually, if it's important to be wearing these things in shops, which is, and I agree is, then when you leave that shop, why should you then feel it's necessary to take it off? Or, I mean, because obviously you're still potentially in contact with others, and if you're working with people, doesn't matter what job you're doing. I went into a shop today, Graham, and I said to my partner, I said, why aren't they wearing masks? And she said to me, Ben, it doesn't matter. Certain shops do not allow them to make their staff, or doesn't have their staff have them wear masks. They don't have to. And I thought, that's nonsense. But it's okay, because certain retail outlets do not have to wear masks. That's madness, but they expect you to wear a mask. Now that is a bit hypocritical, because what's to say that person that's working in that store or retail outlet hasn't got coronavirus? Are they being checked every day? Probably not. And so I kind of found that bizarre. So yeah, we protect ourselves, but actually, is it fair that when we go out as general public and we are asked, rightly so, to put on our masks, that we go into certain shops to find that staff don't have to wear them? That doesn't wash, does it?
Yeah, well, most shops now do have all that that really thick perspex stuff, don't they? That around them. Like, for example, you have it in Aldi's.
Yeah.
And you have it in bargains in Folkestone.
Well, I'm not going to suggest where I saw this, because I don't want a legal battle on my hands. But I will say, Graham, I did witness it today, very much so. And maybe some might agree with me on the area that maybe they've just happened to come across themselves. I won't, like I say, I won't specify where the company is, but let's just say it's a well-known retail brand. But it's the way she said it in the other half. She said, well, certain retail stores don't have to wear them. I just thought, what? So this is kind of where I'm getting a little bit, me personally, Graham, I'm all for COVID, I'm all for understanding what the necessary need for us to protect ourselves is all about. I understand that we've got to do the right thing by each other, but what I don't understand is that you've got rules that are conflicting between business and pleasure. If you're going to do these rules, you've got to make it across the board. You have to. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And this is where I think people are starting to question the reality of it all, because some are saying, well, actually, no, children are going into schools, they're living their lives as it's now trying to be said to be expected normally, and yet, and you've got people going back to work, and but you've got certain people taking it, I would say, very seriously, and others maybe not so much. And you're going to get that in anything. But I think there needs to be a connection between the rules amongst us all, as opposed to sections of society. You know what I mean, Graham? That's just my opinion, you see. That's just an opinion. What does the viewers think? I just think it's something that I've noticed.
So we need to move on to the next topic. It's going to be
coronavirus special.
A 23:59 finish, and
I think it could be.
no. So let's move on to topic 4, Mr. Glazer.
Right. Well, because of the state of play today, not today as in now, this very day, being Tuesday, but in general, this current time that we're facing, the NHS has had huge amounts of pressures, Graham. And fair to say they have had a lot on their hands, haven't they, with the virus that we've just referenced
Yes, they have.
very recently ago. And I'm not going to
That's
harp on about that in
quite
particular.
a lot, haven't they?
Exactly, because we've spoken about that I was just going to say to the death.
Well, no, you can say it, I suppose, because it's the case.
You might have to edit that. Yeah.
No.
But you know, excuse the pun. But Grem, the NHS, right? So, what am I getting to? Let me get to the point, shall I? Because I'm waffling here, guys. You know, I'm doing my usual thing.
It's to do with admissions, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Thanks, Grem. So, admissions into hospital. It's been suggested that heart attacks have dropped by 6,000 in March and through April, comparing of last year. And that's been reported by the Daily Mail, Graham, which is a statistic in any count. And likewise, there has been nearly 137,000 fewer cancer admissions from March to June. Now that's bizarre, because I think one thing I'll say on this just for a moment, Graham, before I throw it to you and to the viewers, is with that, okay, a lot of people, I think, me included, worried about the implications that coronavirus was having, because a lot of that was taking a lot of the time of the NHS. And of course, you know, people were being told only contact the NHS if it's necessary. I think a lot of people were deterred to go, come away from the NHS's support, unless of course it was absolutely necessary. But to actually say that these cases have dropped, when actually one would have thought it would have gone quite somewhat the other way, simply because, of course, maybe detections hadn't been found in certain people. It's kind of a good story, nonetheless, isn't it? Because it's also through to concern with the patient, isn't it? Yeah. It has been reported many months ago in the media that a lot of people were, when the lockdown first happened, a lot of people were rightfully scared. Yeah. About attending hospital. I mean, and we did actually discuss, didn't we? Did.
We in regards to the William Harvey Hospital in Ashford, and the Ashford Borough as well was known as one of the worst in the whole of this United Kingdom. Yeah. So there's that concern there that people actually had, about attending hospital. Yeah. You also had the fall in diabetes, didn't you? And stroke. It fell by 37%. It's and 17 for strokes. People that were known to have strokes would not go to hospital when they were feeling unwell, and try and ride it out at home. And and I suppose some people have sadly passed, haven't they, to do with the fear of attending a hospital that could possibly make them unwell. But then the necessary procedures are in place to check patients on arrival and so on. Anyway, like at the moment, to do with outpatients appointments, that you could normally just attend, but now they can do it over a Zoom link now as well, and normal appointments that you will have as well within the NHS. It's all done at a restricted level amount, a number of people that actually attend at any one time. Yeah. So they've got the procedures in place, necessary precautions to safeguard the patients and the staff.
Well, Andrew has said, really, the Daily Mail, with a laughing face. Graham, okay, so it's a good story, isn't it? If you look at it in its current value, right? But look at it like this, right? So what we did find out to know was that, and I'm touching on coronavirus again because it is kind of linked, but so take coronavirus, yeah? People were passing away with it, right? Because what was suggested was it wasn't necessarily coronavirus itself that was taking people's lives. It was the accumulation between coronavirus and other underlying illnesses. Now, what's to say, sadly to say, that actually and God forbid it was the case, it's very sad news to say this, but you know, there were people that were diagnosed with cancer that certainly were struggling, let's say, got coronavirus, their immune system is somewhat damaged anyhow, lost their life, and what we did find out was, and the media, or at least the media, I think it's fair to say, did sort of put out was that they were saying these deaths were accounted for as coronavirus. Well, actually, what we later discovered was it was not just coronavirus, there was underlying issues that was actually contributing to the deaths of those contracting.
So the correct figure basically wasn't being released, was it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, there is that fear that prioritising COVID-19 over, as Ben has just stated, other health conditions, there's a high likely chance that individuals that could possibly be saved by going to hospital, where they are not doing so because certain procedures have been put on hold for now. You know, some people may pass away, mightn't they?
They might do.
It's a really sad situation.
Well,
when you're dealing with that with a pandemic, then when you're dealing with a pandemic is a pandemic. You know, it's something we've never dealt with before. So it's early stages. We're learning every day.
Yeah, we are. Well, there's a few comments coming in on the very subject, Grem. We've done a bit of talking on this. Andrew says, referencing testing, it's an interesting concept now. He says, the NHS are not involved with the testing this is. He says, it is carried out entirely by a subcontractor referred to as Serco. He also, Lee has also said, we'll come to that point, Andrew, in a moment, and Lee's also said, bizarre list of data, because he says, does it mean that people are currently wasting hospital time, or is there procedures to be wrapped up in the red tape so that the hospitals are simply doing more standard checks or checkups than necessary? And then he also says maybe COVID untied their hands to work more efficiently, quite possibly too. So that's an interesting set of events on the subject there, isn't it, Graham?
No, it certainly is. I'm not sure what to say on that. I'm not medically minded in that way, so...
They're more statements, Graham, aren't they? I think it's fair to say, and good statements at that. Graham, completely off topic, but on the same subject, Graham, would you say, or let's just say, do we know, are those working at the space station wearing masks?
Oh,
now you probably wonder why I'm asking that.
That actually brings us to quite the correct moment in time, because the next point is Ben Star's pointless news.
Pointless news.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
But is that pointless though, Graham? Because although that wasn't in the script, and that's completely a curveball, and I do apologise, Graham, I like doing that occasionally, you know I do. But you know,
it's what makes the show the show.
Lee says I guessed it.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not.
Yeah, I know. I was being particularly careful about how I approached it. But Graham, so why do I say this? Okay, well, why would it matter? Because they're in a space station, they're away from the Earth. So how would possibly the virus be there? Okay, fine, I get that. But right, the assumption is that those that are travelling to the space station, because after all they do handovers, right? Are they being tested before they go up in a rocket? Probably, or not?
Of course they are.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
But does that mean that just because they haven't got it, that they're not going to get it in space?
Well, no, how can they? The temperature in space is just literally it's too cold. It won't survive, will it? So it's no.
But Graham, it survived in Iceland.
Ben, we're talking about
minus degrees. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe, Graham, I think you're on something there. Maybe you've just wrapped up the pointless news topic number one, unofficial topic number one of the evening.
Well, let's move on to the official topic number one.
Pointless news.
Oh,
I love that.
Laser.
I never get bored of that, Graham. What is our first topic? Let me have a look, guys. I do know what it is. I'm pulling one's leg.
Well, it's quite an unusual. I know you know what it is. It's a very unusual topic, isn't it? And it's actually a topic that could basically be done and dusted within 2 minutes. But let's put a timer on Mr. Glazer, shall we, everyone?
No,
Okay,
Graham,
I'm not going to say a single
Graham,
word.
I've just got to
now.
come back. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I've got to come back to this a second, Graham, because Lee has said numpty. I love that, numpty. If calling someone a numpty, it's not offensive, is it? Calling someone numpty.
No.
No, it's kind of like, you might think it's offensive, but it's not. It's actually quite funny. That's what crackled. That got me a little bit, Lee, because he says numpty. Hang on. Yeah, you're not wrong there. He says, this, you know what I said, Graham, about, hang on, start again. You know what I said, Graham, about going to space and having to self-isolate? Or not,
Yes.
or be tested. I didn't say about self-isolation. I said test. No, he says numpty. He says they are already isolated before they leave for additional procedures. I saw something on this, so I am sure. Yeah, okay, Lee. I mean, you know, NASA are worth millions. I mean, I'm pretty sure they would have put people through tests. I get it. Right, Graham. Topic number one.
When do I start this timer on you?
Pointless news.
Right, pointless news. Dunelm.
Pointless news.
And that was before COVID, Lee said. Well, of course it was. Sorry, no, I've just backtracked again. I can't help it. Graham, I can't help this. Lee has said that was before coronavirus or COVID. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? They were doing this. And China... and China actually have been wearing masks since the word I understand to go. Word go. So anyway, Dunelm. Hang on a minute.
Pointless news.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the subject, shall we? Dunelm shopper. All right. Baffled by chopping board sticker saying he can't actually use it.
No, it's extremely unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah. Wooden chopping board. Stuart took to Twitter. Hello, Stuart. If you're reading this, you're famous. It says...
Yeah, very famous.
To the Ben&Grem
Like
community.
us.
It says Stuart took to Twitter, Graham, and with a snap of a confusing piece of instruction that was printed on the back of a chopping board. He purchased it at Dunelm. Dunelm, that's a very, very nice place, actually. I don't know if you've ever been there, guys. Which was forcing the member of the team to settle the record. What? Hang on a minute. A shopper was left behind, baffled as he purchased his chopping board from Dunelm with a very strict yet odd instruction. The man named Stuart Anthony, hello Stuart, Mr. Anthony, sourced budget home store Dunelm in a search for a new kitchen accessory and came across a wooden chopping board which would do the job, of course. But when he noticed a sticker on the back of the chopping board advising users against the use of this chopping board, he was more than confused, understandably so. I mean, because that's the whole purpose of it, right? Using it.
What did the notes? What did it say? What did the sticker say?
Well, it says that the warning states. It says wood chopping board. Okay. It says wipe clean only. Hang on, I can't even believe this is. Hang on a minute.
Pointless news.
Yeah. So the chopping board. It says wipe clean only. Right. Wipe up skills immediately to avoid staining. Do not soak. Do not use as chopping board. Stuart took to Twitter to share this picture of this message with confusing instructions, writing, do you know what, Graham? I just don't get that. Who, in their right mind, would have stuck that sticker on? Someone had to print it. That's the worst thing.
Well, he put it on. He said he went on Twitter, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got some responses from that, didn't he? So with quite a few comments, and a couple of people stated that maybe the board was just for use as a show board and not actually to be used within the store, of course. You know, it's there in the store, it's the show.
Maybe.
for the customer to view, and maybe it shouldn't have been sold.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
Um,
Graham, I don't know what's more amusing, whether the actual pointless news topic of the chopping board be the more amusing thing out of this, or the article itself, because we already had a laugh, didn't we, Andrew, about when we referenced Daily Mail, and a laughter face came across from the chat. But it's also, again, guys, from the Daily Mail. And if you can see that, you can actually see the message.
yeah, it's just hilarious.
It's a bit hilarious, that. So I don't know whether it's more hilarious that it's come from Daily Mail.
UK, they've actually sent a reply, didn't they, to a lady that messaged to ask them to explain it, and they're actually dealing with it now and having the stickers removed and replaced with the irrelevant spelling and arranged correctly, because it was a bit jumbled up, wasn't it?
Yes. A message in, guys. Lee says, we're going back to the subject numpty again. Thanks, Lee, because you learn something every day. This is why you need to talk to people. That's why it's good to talk. It doesn't matter what you talk about. You can learn so much from others. So don't be a quiet one. Just be an excessively talking one. Self. Lee says,
the chopping board and its sticker is now with their merchandise department. So
is that news just in,
up
Graham?
to them.
So they've recalled. Have they recalled that message then? I'm assuming they must have done.
Yes, they replied to a message on Twitter.
All right. Well, Lee says, the numpty comes from the Scottish accent saying empty head. He says it sounds umpty hide. I think that's how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Until numpty, it was a bit like your chopping board story. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, I suppose it was. Well,
Yeah.
I'm most grateful for that intervention, Lee.
Come on.
Chop
Come
on,
on.
chop, chop, Ben, he says.
Chop, 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 chop.
No, Graham says that, not me. Chop, chop. Graham, it's time for your news story.
Yes, it is. I was waiting for you to put that pointless news.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for you to give me the cue, but you've done it now, so let's do 3, 2, 1.
Pointless news.
Item number 2.
There. Item number 2. Point number 6. Oh, God.
Item number 2, point number 6, pointless news.
Pointless news.
I'll tell you what, you were talking about being in space earlier and the coronavirus, etc.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if you're actually sort of not with the planet. Are you sane, Mr. Glazer?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes my head just runs away, Graham. I mean, I always
Maybe
wonder.
you are actually sane, and it's the rest of us that are less loopy and not coping.
Graham, what's the topic?
No. Anyway, topic, moving on.
Hang on.
Pointless news.
A few. The Festival of Brexit. It was first discussed by the then Prime Minister Theresa May back in 2018, and it was labelled as the Festival of Brexit. It's now been relabelled as the Festival UK 2022. I've lost my train for 1 second. 1, 2, 3. Back in the room. Basically, the creative minds behind the idea are actually asking for individuals from the arts, music, etc., to take part and actually help design what the festival may look like in 2022. So it's quite an exciting time. The gentleman's name, the Chief Creative Officer, is a gentleman called Martin Green. And as I said, he's asking for some assistance in setting this up. And he's going to look for around about 10 people from different areas to help design the whole festival. So it's some exciting times ahead. I don't know what you think on that, Ben, so far. Any concerns about it actually going ahead?
Yeah. Many
do?
concerns, Grem. For a minute, you didn't have a clue what I was doing then, did you? Well, yes, many concerns, Grem, because, well, we've had...
What were you doing?
Say again?
What were you doing?
Reading. I was reading my next topic. Grem. Cut.
Mr. Data.
Cut. No, I
don't
did hear
know.
everything you said, Grem, and it was really interesting.
Right.
Listen, right, Graham. No, I'm concerned. All right, because riots are a bad thing. Protests are a bad thing, and we've seen many of those recently. We have seen.
Yeah, I can see your point there. I mean, the whole idea is to get together all walks of life, and also with that mention those that voted Remain and those that voted Leave to come together.
Yeah.
But it's how they go about designing the day. Realistically, you would be thinking that it would be a massive celebration for Brexit, going out there and celebrating the fact of being an independent trading nation. But we need to take into consideration those that did not vote in that way. We may know ourselves of people and friends of ours that did not vote maybe for Brexit. Mm-hmm. So we do need to take into consideration these people, because if we don't, we are likely to cause a situation. But then saying that, realistically, the festival should be celebrating, being British, being a United Kingdom. But how they're going to go and design that?
Graham, they're trying to. Let me just put it this way, right? I mean, what I don't get is, going back to my last point. We're seeing protests and things going on at the moment, and of course, although it's wrong because of the time of the crisis of coronavirus, yet others are saying, well, actually, if that can take place, then how can we be told we can't go out in no more than groups of 6, right? But coming to my point about this festival, because festivals are about large people. It is about having fun, getting together, feeling the vibe. You know what I mean? All feeling mutual on the happiness and enjoying themselves. But okay, I like this concept. Right, so we're going to get people together and celebrate. Right, okay. Festival. Brexit festival. Music. Light-hearted. But again, what I think we're trying to do here, and I think this is something that we've got to appreciate, is that, and again, my opinion is that, for some time now, we have tried to pull in Remainers and Leavers to try and see some mutual understanding upon us leaving the European Union. Yet, we understand that you cannot. It's a bit like left-wing politics, right-wing politics. You're never going to get both sides agree, right? You might get.
You are correct, mate. Because you've got.
It's being forced upon people.
There.
We've got to appreciate that actually, the referendum took place. We've got to appreciate that actually there are going to be people there that still believe that we should be members of Europe, and there's going to be many of us again that believe also that we should be out of Europe. The fact is, we are out of Europe by January, officially. And with that, we have to, regardless of what side you sit on, I think it's fair to say, rather than force this idea that somehow having a a Brexit celebration and getting people together to experience music and fun, mixing the two is not going to work, because you're still going to get people. People aren't just going to turn up and open their minds just because they're all doing something they enjoy doing. That's not going to work.
Exactly. It needs to be. This is why it comes down to how it's going to be, designed. How it's going to be played out. They want to get scientists, technology, people, engineering, architects, people of the arts. So you'll have like singers, public performers, all that sort of thing. I suppose if you look back to 2012 and the Golden Jubilee, for example, that was if they was to do something similar to that sort of setup, then it sort of includes everybody. So yeah, it's a difficult one, that, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. It is a difficult one, Grem. But yeah, I just think that again, it's being forced upon people. You're going to get people that are going to believe what they believe, and that's the end of it. You're going to get people that won't ever accept, but yet to a degree will accept to a point that actually what is happening, and just because it's happening doesn't mean to say you in particular believe it's happening for the reasons you believe it is. It's just the way it is. It's politics, and people will always have their difference of opinion. We've just got to let it be. That's why we have democracy. That's why we have votes. That's why we have elections. That's why we have referendums. It's so that we can put the decision to bed. And we've got to appreciate that, because that's the only way democracy will work. Regardless of who won or lost, that's the way it is. A football game is played out. Whoever wins or loses, once that decision's been made, that's it, end of. You might feel hard done by because the decision was against you, but at the end of the day, you move on. You pick yourself up. That's the way it is. That's the way it has to be. It can't be any different to that. So we've got to try. I think the media have got to stop this forcing of individuals trying to understand one line, because that's not how we work. We're human beings. We have our own minds, and that's it. We can tell people what we think. We can hope that people believe in what you say, but at the end of the day, they'll make their own minds up. And that's what democracy's about. Graham.
Exactly. I mean, back in 2016, I knew what I voted. I knew why I voted, and I knew what it meant.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, they voted this for this, or they voted, they voted that way because of this and this and this. I voted that way to be what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Graham, not any other reason.
Lee says, why is the echo back?
No idea.
No, I don't either. No idea. I need a light bulb now. Just come up on the side.
Light bulb. Light bulb moment. Light bulb moment.
Light bulb moment. I think it's internet. I think it must be internet based. I don't know. I'm assuming somebody said something earlier, Graham. I think he said that where the internet's the delay. Maybe it's something to do with that.
Yep. But anyway, I'm going on to point 7 now. It's
Are you?
Another pointless news.
You are, aren't you? And that's me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Just keep talking, Graham, for a second.
Yep, I can do. I think someone hasn't done his homework, and he said, "Oh yes, Graham, I have done my homework." Yeah. I've been studying.
Look, I don't know about you, Graham, but I'm sure all of us at some time or another, whilst at school, always left homework to the last minute.
No.
All right. No, actually, I never used to do that. In fact, what I used to do, Graham, is when I was at school, I had homework to take home. I used to go home. I used to do it straight away. My mum always used to say to me, "Oh, you're such a good boy." Mum's going to come in and say something different now. Because I used to come home, do my homework, and then it'd be done. And then I'd have the weekend to do what on earth I wanted. And I know that by the time I went in the next morning, Monday morning, it was done. And I never understood why people didn't use that mentality. My sister, on the other hand, sorry to say this, sis, was a bit different to me. She never did it straight away, but that's irrelevant because she always did it. But anyway,
isn't it strange how tables have turned now? Then, in a way,
tables have turned.
Now it's like left to the last minute.
Yeah,
life's too busy.
It is. Lee says, not me.
No.
So Lee also says, what went wrong in later life?
It's best to plan ahead with as many days as possible in front. So we're talking about Venus.
Yeah, we are, but no, I'm just saying. Lee says, Grem. So what went wrong in later life? What went wrong in later life, Grem? He's talking about me. I know he is.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, you was always on time for your homework, you know, whatever from school, and then all of a sudden now it's just, oh, they can wait till last minute. Oh, we're on 0.7 now, are we? Oh, yeah. All right.
yeah, I'm looking for Venus, Grem. I can't see it.
All right. Okay. Anyway, look, life on Venus. Now, is this pointless news or not, eh?
Well, we're going to do pointless news because it's always nice, but it's not pointless. But we'll do it anyway.
Pointless news.
Important subject. I mean, not so at the moment, but in the future, and especially if it is a possibility that they have found something, haven't they, Ben?
What have they found, Grem?
Well, you know the answer to that.
I know I do. I'm still looking for the topic.
Oh,
Lee says, Grem. Lee says, I've just worked out the solution. I need to phone your mum. Yes. Sade says hello, or she says evening. With a
hello,
smiley
hello,
face.
Sade.
Nice to see you back. Good evening. Andrew says good evening, Sade. Yeah, that's what you need to do, Lee. That'd be amusing, actually. Yeah, do that. That'd be funny. So what she says. Tell me what she says. I'll give you the number at the end of the show. Right, Graham.
You'll probably say good luck. Good luck.
I'm still looking for the topic, Graham. I don't know where it's gone. Venus. I'm going to try and remember because I did read this, guys. I did do my homework. I will make this clear to you. Right? I did study this subject. What have they found though?
Yeah, I thought you would do because it is quite interesting.
Well, I sent it to you, Graham, so I did study it. Hang on.
It is.
Where did I send it? Can you give me a clue? Because I can't find it.
Oh, do you want to know exactly? Now, these points should have came through 3 days ago, but they actually came through yesterday at 17, between 17 and 11 and 17:22. I'll get you the points. Don't worry. Yeah.
Please. I'm still trying. I can't find. I'll just look at it. Press the thumbs up, please. Andrew says.
Right, thumbs up. Well, I'll do my best on this. Basically, the Royal Astronomical Society broke the news.
I found it.
Yep, on Monday the 7th of September 2020.
Hang on a minute. Internet's gone down. Carry on, Graham. No, it hasn't. Here it comes. Are you talking about Prince Philip, Graham?
No, I'm later on, not now.
What are you doing then?
Not now.
I thought we were talking about Venus. Oh. What's going on? What's happening here? Hang on a minute. Hang on. Right, this is it. We're going to get back on track. Hang on.
Pointless news.
No, I don't know.
I don't know where I've put that. Graham, can you name... Right, so just for your information, guys, and it's not necessary because it's a complete blunder because we're talking about the bits we do behind the scenes right now because we are completely lost. Right, hang on. So, Graham, can you allude me to the area?
Like a screen thing to put up, basically, just to say that.
Yeah, can you do me a favour? Can you just allude me to the area, Graham, of where the post came through? Don't give me the time because I've got so many different areas on my phone that I can't relate to at the minute. Can you just tell me? Can you tell me what WhatsApp page it was?
Oh.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
We had this conversation, everyone, literally about an hour and a half before we actually went live. The production page for Ben and Grem.
Right, I'm looking at that now, actually. I can't find it, though.
What you need to do is don't look for you need to channel your mind to what I sent you on the production page, not what you sent me on private messaging. So forget that.
Oh no, I'm
Production
reading your stuff. I'm reading your stuff.
chat. Yeah, but remember, it was put up twice, one with links and one without. The without was to put on the Facebook page, wasn't it?
I just
To
want the
allow
link, Grem.
viewers to know.
Can I
what
have the
was
link,
happening.
please? Can you send me the
Found
link?
it. Have you found it?
I haven't found it. No. Can you send me the link? I'm looking. This is just great, isn't it? Lee. Lee. Do you want to have a word?
Gosh, I don't know.
Hang
One
on a
second,
minute. Let me just put user in time. What does that mean? No, I'm not doing that. Don't know what that meant. Don't know what that meant.
Alright. I'm going to send it through to you,
Thank you.
and I'm also sending it back through to the production chat. Really twice.
Oh, that. You sure you sent that?
Yes, I did, Ben. I did.
All right, let you off.
See, what Ben has a habit of doing, everyone, is you send a message through and he'll get a notification. He goes, yeah, deal with that later. But it don't get dealt with. or it does, but not totally. So he does make an effort.
Right. Start again.
Yes.
Pointless news.
Pointless
Right.
news.
Pointless news. Life on Venus. Major announcement reveals something could be or might be living in the clouds on Earth's neighbour. I still don't know what it was on the Earth. Oh God. I still don't know what it was on Venus, Graham. Hang on. Right. The Royal Astronomical Society
Yeah.
has put something in a press conference on Monday. Monday just gone.
Monday the 7th of September. Yeah, just
Yeah.
gone.
Just gone. Saying that they have detected an Alcama large millimeter array located in Chile. I don't know what this is. I don't even know. What is he talking about, Chile? Graham, what? Graham,
Ben,
what?
no. The information was found. Was found. It involved a millimeter array within Chile. Also, the James Clerk Maxwell Telescope in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And research conducted by the University of Manchester.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of Massachusetts, I can't say it. Well, American state, guys. Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
And Cardiff University.
Uh-huh.
So the information was found by these people.
Yeah.
And did you want to continue, Ben?
Yeah. So Sade says the chemical phosphine is a living chemical or something. It's basically a bacteria. It's been suggested. It's been start again, Graham. It's been suggested that there has been bacteria found on the planet of Venus, and it's added further weight to some of the ideas of life being on a neighbouring planet. And that's the information that's come through from the planetary science. Not really doing very well here. A bit similar to, yes, you're right, Sade. It's phosphine. I think it's phosphine. I think that's how you pronounce it. I can barely say that. It's widely seen amongst the community of the biosignature, whatever the biosignature might mean or be. I hope anybody or somebody might know that. And it's to do with pressure in the Venusian clouds that is produced on the Earth's atmosphere. Obviously, there is a form of atmosphere being created, or as has been noted around Venus, indicating existence of extraterrestrial life.
You just added that bit in.
No, I'm reading that bit.
Really?
So from that, hang on a minute. No, I did, honestly. I was hanging out there, guys. I'm not going to lie. I did have the article, thanks to Grem, because somehow I lost it. I then found it. I was reading it. I saw the comments coming in. Thank you, Sade. Then I discovered there was a little bit more information when I scrolled my fingers down a little bit on the page to find this information that I hadn't ever read before. Sade says, so from what you're basically saying, she says, so basically, from this, what you're suggesting is that it could mean life is harbouring there. Long and short of it, yeah. That is it.
They do believe that it's a possibility. It's the closest planet to us, and if it is likely to be, it will be that planet. So, but will we ever know?
Well, no, because we can't get there. Hang on, no, we could actually. Venus is... Have I got this wrong? Yeah, Venus is our neighbouring planet, isn't it? Of course it is. Yeah, we could get there, couldn't we? What am I talking about? Yeah, we could get there, Graham, couldn't we? Not us. I mean, I can't fly a rocket, neither can you, so we ain't going anywhere. But I'm saying those that can. Have they ever got to Venus? They must have done. Otherwise they wouldn't have had this information, would they?
Where's Lee with his... what did he call you earlier?
Numpty.
His comment.
Sade says...
my God.
Sade says, this is basically... Well, yeah. It is basically... What? Hang on, start again. Sorry, Sade. She says, that is basically it. Yeah. She says it could be living creature. There could be living creatures or plants or people. Yeah, there could be. Because we all started from a bacteria. That's great, isn't it? Did we? Did we all start from bacteria, Graham? I think we did, didn't we? What's our next topic? Oh, God.
Well, I'd just like to add to the end of that anyway.
Oh, please do.
The gas that is produced in it's harmful to humans. It will kill you. And it smells
sulfuric
like
acid,
fish.
Graham. Sulfate. Sulfur.
Yeah, it's a foul, stinking smell.
Excuse the pun, Graham. The smell of 1,000 farts. Sorry, guys.
Smell of a thousand. What's it? Anyway, moving on then.
What's it?
Point 8.
Yeah. Graham, can we just hold the line a minute? Hold the line. I mean, hold the moment of the show a minute.
Why?
Because Sade says she believes fish, wasn't it, that we formed from fish? Newts, wasn't it? What did we form from? Some people, Lee says, haven't progressed much further than the... Hang on. Oh God, this is killing me. I can't do this, Graham. No, so Lee says some people haven't progressed much further than amioba. Have they, Ben? I think that's what you said because there was a couple of dots there. What's an amioba, Graham?
I don't know, but I do know one thing.
What?
I don't think we're going to get through to 15 topics. We're on number 8, going on to number 8.
Yeah. Well, Gary Anderson says plasmatic, what? I can't read tonight. Protoplasmic jelly, mate. I think that's how you said it. Shani says humans evolved from apes. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Of course they did. God. Said amioba. Isn't he a footballer? Is a single cell living organism. No, we're apes. Now I'm confused. Rem, help me out. No, I think we need to move on, don't we?
I think Sade is near enough right. We sort of originated from like a newt kind of thing, all those millions of years ago, but and then evolved, and then evolved. We evolved. That's it. Okay.
We've lost it tonight, Graham, haven't we? It's gone. I don't even know what's going on tonight. It's just gone, isn't it? It's gone.
Yes, well, we've got quite a few points to get through, yeah?
He's like a teacher, isn't he? He's like, Graham is like, we've got a few points to get through, Ben. We've got all night, Not.
No. We haven't got all night.
Lee said apes. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Sade, you're absolutely right. Lee, you're right. I prefer to be an ape than a bacteria, but then I wouldn't know much being a bacteria because I don't think they had brains, did they? A bacteria is just I don't know what it is. Graham, what was our next topic? Sorry.
I don't know, but the last topic that we're going to be talking about this evening, everyone.
The last topic?
About...
I thought you said we had 15 topics to get through.
No, but I was just going to say, it is about boring people.
Well, I do that regularly.
Right. Yes. No, not all
Can
the
I call
time.
this pointless news,
I
Graham?
can be boring. I can be boring.
Yeah.
Hello, oh my gosh, I can be boring. You know that.
Hang on a minute.
Pointless news.
We've done that a few times. Sorry, carry on, Graham.
Yes. Anyway, as everyone knows, at the moment, the SNP in obviously Scotland, their assembly there, are still pushing for independence and wishing to have another referendum on the subject. But they've been dealt a little bit of a blow. It's possibly have somewhat doused or weakened their ability maybe to progress. We'll have to wait and see. But basically the Shetland Islands are actually now considering in going it alone themselves, seeking independence from Scotland, but not with the UK. They basically want to basically go out on their own terms and become a financial and political determination future direction.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do.
Right. I've got a problem with that, Graham, but carry on.
Yep. Residents and councillors have voted overwhelmingly to basically go down this route. Mm-hmm. When I first started reading the story, the baseline and the story to this, I thought, oh well, it's want to stick with the union, but then I was taken back a bit. But yes, they basically are considering in going it alone. They want to follow I need to find this. I apologise. Right, it's right in front of me. They basically want to follow the same direction as a previous area has done, called Faroe Islands, which is situated within the Kingdom of Denmark. So they basically want to go down the same sort of direction as they've gone with being financially and politically self-determinating. So let's see how that goes. But will it cause a situation for Nicole Sturgeon and the SNP with their desire to go independent? Because it does weaken the financial side of things there, because they will be losing a small percentage, but as everyone knows, the percentage that Scotland actually hold at the moment financially is pretty low anyway. So to lose any more, it's likely to cause them more negativity. So let's see where this goes. How do you feel on it, Ben?
Well, before I come to my point, I'd like to add from a viewer's topic of discussion. He has said that Faroe Islands, were colonised by the Danes, the Danish, Denmark. And he says he believes that they were folded into Scotland in, or should we say, around the last 300 years. I think you're absolutely right there, Gary, because I watched a documentary one time about the Faroe Islands, because they actually have their own language. And a piece of pointless news, guys.
Pointless news.
But actually not so pointless, because it's quite relevant, as far as they're concerned anyway. They believed, or understood it to know, that their language, Faroese, was not actually internationally known as a language. They, I don't even believe they were known through Google, let's say, on the internet, and they petitioned for it, and I believe they campaigned for it, and now they actually are known to have their own language, Faroesian or Faroese, and you can actually see their interaction now within Google services, which is huge for them, and they're very impressed with that. But that's not what I was just about to talk about, Graham. What I was going to talk about was the very thing about the SNP, as you say. We were talking about that. I would say it's a worrying time, I think, because what I have a bit of an issue with the whole thing is that as much as the Scots, I suppose, want their own parliament, although they share parliament with England, don't they, and Ireland and United Kingdom, as we're members of, all of us of which, Scotland, England, Ireland and Wales, Northern Ireland, not Southern Ireland. But the Scots do have financial resources come from the United Kingdom's UK Parliament, English Parliament, which is what we refer to as called the Barnett formula. And what worries me particularly on the idea of the independence of Scotland is that once upon a time, it seems not that long ago, that the Scottish were talking about the oil being a big thing for them. If they were to go alone, they would have those resources. But we've now recently discovered that oil is not as lucrative now in Scotland as it was considered before. So that on its own would not be, I think, enough of an economy factor for them to push. Then, of course, you've got another situation, whereas if they go independent, then they then stop receiving funding from our English Parliament, UK Parliament, which would then become the Welsh, English and Northern Irish. Then, okay, some would argue, well, they want to be members of Europe. Okay, so they'll get membership money from the European Union, but would the European Union accept them as an independent member state? Would they be able to compete within Europe's global stage with the resources financially that would be expected of them to become members? That's the other thing. Have they got enough on the table as independent Scotland to bring to the table?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does. So
it really does make you wonder what they've got up their sleeve. But what is it that they think that they've got, or is it that they just want to put the fear factor or the hope factor in there with the other side, with their side, with wanting to actually leave the United Kingdom as a family and go on their own.
But there's something that I also want to touch upon, Grem, and it was just about my point I never actually wrapped up, and that was my fault, guys, because I did stop talking. But Grem, I want to say is that also with the idea of the independence of Scotland to us, but also then wanting to retain membership of the European Union, they aren't currently members of the European Union because they're part of the UK, as we know it to speak. And so in order for them to gain membership again, they would have to reapply. So that's on the basis that, like I said, the European Union would want to give them membership. If they've got enough to offer the club. But with that said, let's say, argument's sake, they did join again, but they joined as an independent nation, Scotland, on their own. You can't help but wonder what they then mean by wanting independence when they want independence from the United Kingdom, because they want to govern their own laws. But actually, in order to do that, you need to be independent. But you can't be independent and be a member of the European Union, because the European Union, as many of us would understand, is a state in itself. They believe that they are one flag, one emblem, one state. They don't believe in nation-state democracy, as said. So actually, it's very contradictory for me to understand. I'd love to have a conversation with Nicola Sturgeon, but it's very hard for me to understand where the concept of independence in their mind, or her mind, meets. Guys,
I'm actually thinking, is it about independence now?
Well, that's what it's about, isn't it, Graham?
Yeah, I know, but if you think about it, is it actually about independence, or is this a left swing politically to becoming a free world?
Yeah.
Where there is no such thing as a different named country, so you can literally move around as you wish. It just makes you wonder if it's all part of the same sort of club. They've got some sort of brainwaves going on there that are bringing all these factions together. Pretty strange.
It is pretty strange, but we'll never know.
You are right in what you say, Ben. You can't be independent, an independent country.
Well, no, you can't.
And be a member of the European Union.
It doesn't work. There's no such.
No, because it defeats the whole object.
Lee says, "How dare anyone have a different view?" Well, the thing is, Lee, I mean, you'll know as well as I do, if you are somebody who believes in something very strongly, yes, then you campaign for change. And of course, that's understandable. That's called democracy. And in order to do so, you call for referendums. And of course, the Scots have already had a referendum on the independence of their nation. And they came back with, no, we want to remain part of the United Kingdom. But now she's pushing for another one because she believes terms have changed. They haven't changed. We've left the European Union. That's all that's changed. They haven't left us. We haven't left them. Nothing's changed between our parliament.
I believe that the Barnett formula has increased. I believe that they have been given some more incentives since after the referendum that they had.
That's
but
it.
There's nothing pleasing. There's nothing pleasing them.
But you know what? But Graham, what worries me for the Scots is, and we know that the NHS in Scotland, am I correct in saying, isn't all that bad? Would it be any good? Would it be able to stand on its own? Would it be, a Scottish National Health? Would it be okay to stand on its own? Yes, some would say, for those that believe in that. But I think it can only be stronger if it's part of one NHS system, the National Health Service, right? Do you think?
Well, yeah. How do you go with dealing with just say that the split happens and they break away from the rest of the United Kingdom. So we've become just, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
Then what happens with the NHS part of Scotland? Does the NHS England and Wales and Northern Ireland, do they all club together as their directors and then they turn around and say, right, we want this amount of money from you, please, Scotland, because you've got all our equipment? Do they do that? Or, as a nice sort of gesture, do we go, well, there you go, have that, go on your way?
Graham, do you remember that conversation not so long ago we had about apes and monkeys?
Not so long ago. It wasn't not so long ago. Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay, just a minute. But Lee has said, and I had to do this, Graham. All right, I had to do this because it's very important what he said here, and certainly Sade believes he could be right too. But basically, he says that he remembers learning in school that apes and monkeys are not actually related, but are actually descendants from following different evolutionary paths from the shared previous form. That is what I understand, and I think that's very true, Graham. I think that is what we understand. Anyway, the Shetland Islands, Graham. Lee has said the Shetland Islands has decided to put forward a motion to leave Scotland. Don't blame them. They generate all Scotland's wealth. Yes, I hadn't read up on that. Lee,
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And you've got to ask yourself, as those that live in the Shetland Isles, what benefits are they getting from that? Absolutely. And it's the same as us. I mean, Scotland have got more to lose by leaving the United Kingdom.
There's one thing also. The Scottish government have not been given them enough financial assistance. They haven't actually been handing over enough money to the Shetland Islands like that they should be. The amount of money that they're getting is inadequate. They've requested more, and they're not getting it. Basically, they're getting refused it. So it makes you laugh that the SNP can whinge and moan about Westminster and about money here and money there, and look what they're doing to the Shetland Islands themselves.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, Graham. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah,
but it's a conversation that will continue on from day on end, and you will always, like all things, like Brexit, like other things also included, you will have a mixture of opinion, and that's just how it is. But I do fear the breakup of Scotland because I do feel that I don't think it could be as good as it is now for them if they were to break up, because they'll have to do everything themselves, and that's fine because that's what independent means.
I'm going to go as far as saying it's not going to happen.
I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen.
No, I don't think it'll happen. I think what needs to happen is the other political parties need to somehow form some form of partnership, and they need to eat their way into the SNP voting. They need to get in there and dismantle that.
Well,
it's not good.
It's like what bizarre. Well, I mean, I'm putting a completely different spin on this now, Graham, and I hope I don't come across a little bit over opinionated right now. But do you remember in the United Kingdom there used to be a political organisation called the British National Party, and that British National Party was seen rather disgracefully, for many good reasons, of course. But it's strangely enough.
Yes, and they got slated and everything.
Of course, it did.
Not that I didn't.
And
really
I don't agree.
The way they went about things was inappropriate, mate.
And I don't agree with their politics.
Where you're going with this.
Yeah, but my point is,
the SNP are doing the same, aren't they?
It was never accepted. But the Scottish National Party seems to have an influence now. That's nationalism, is it not? Scottish National Party, British National Party. So why is it acceptable for the Scottish National Party? I don't know. Help me out, guys. This just came to the top of my head. Why is it acceptable for the Scottish National Party to have such outright views in politics, like wanting to break up from the United Kingdom, but yet the British National Party, for good reason, of course, disintegrated because of the way that they handled their matter of politics? But how is it right for the Scottish National Party to have such a name and such a position and be seen to be, I don't know, national emphasis on Scottish politics? They do need an opposition. They do. They need a Scottish opposition in Scotland. That's what they need. A little bit like what we've got in the United Kingdom, in the UK. Sorry, which is
both political parties,
Labour and Conservative.
Conservative and Labour within Scotland, the Scotland branches. They're not strong enough. SNP have a bulk share of the country. Yeah. And as I said, they need to eat into that voting stream and dismantle it.
But do you know what I'm saying, Graham? My point, yes, they do. But my point is, like, we talk about the woke generation, don't we? I'm not going to say too much about that. We talk about like this sort of change of generation that we're moving into from what we understood back in our day. I say in our day, we didn't live in the war, but certainly from my grandparents' day, I think we could say things have changed. But what I'm trying to say is, why haven't people picked up on Scottish National Party? To just take those words for a moment. I mean, I'm absolutely fine with it. What's wrong with Scottish National Party? Nothing. But I don't. Why hasn't that not been pulled up? The Scottish National Party. It's quite ironic. The Scottish Nationalism Party wants membership of the European Union. It's not very nationalist, is it?
Yes, I know.
I don't know, guys. Anyway, we can talk about this until I'm blue in the face.
At the end of the day, it's the way things are. But Labour and Conservative in Scotland, they become too complacent and they allowed it to happen. So they've got themselves to blame. Yeah. And now,
Yeah. Well, Lee says.
Suffer.
Yeah, well, he's right, what he says, and I kind of agree with what he says here, because he says the British National Party, BNP, went too far. He says they would never accept them. In fact, I struggled with many elements of UKIP, hence why I worked with Henry to change it. Well, that's what we done, didn't we, Graham? Me and yourself. Obviously, it's not about political talk too much this evening, but we'll go on to the subject. Yes, we did try with Henry to change some of the constitutional areas of the party and its direction, and but that's another story for another day. British National Party were something else. But UKIP came after, didn't it? Because the British National Party was a little bit gun-ho, I think. Is that the right word to use, Graham?
I believe so.
Yeah, and UKIP was a bit more moderate, I think. A bit more, well, look, I'll tell you what I mean by what I say, rather than
I think UKIP was given a bad press, mate.
It was press.
It's just a bad,
But and we come back to that, Graham, don't we? It's press. We've said this before. We said this about coronavirus hysteria. We said about press and how they have such an influence around how we think as people. And again, it's what you believe and what you don't believe, and what you research and what you don't research. If you take what you read as gospel, big mistake. Research. Anyway, I don't really follow politics enough to be knowledgeable enough to have an opinion or entitle them to an opinion. Sade says, no, well, that's because it's dry, Sade, isn't it? I mean, politics is dry and
yes, that's
any
why we're going to
opinion is
move on,
good.
Sade. We're going to move on.
We are moving on because actually, Sade, it's about time we did because before our viewers fall asleep.
Well, we are. Yes, we're moving on, Ben.
We are, Graham.
Point 9.
Point
Have
9.
you got your details in front of you now?
I love that. I was really hoping, Graham, you weren't going to say that. Yes, I have not. Yes.
You have now.
No, he hasn't. Well, I have.
Right.
I haven't. Well, I have. Hang on.
I send them through to you.
I'm looking. Lee says politics is a nasty word, but everyone has opinions when you break it down in individual issues, and that's politics. Yes, it is. Yeah, politics is a nasty word. It's kind of like, oh, God, filth. But then, yeah, you're right, Lee, because no matter what it is in life, if you have an opinion about anything, it's political. Because there's always a political element of whatever it is you're having a conversation about. Always comes back to politics. You might not think it, but it does. Right, I'm going to find this topic, Graham. Hang on a minute, Graham. Oh God, hang on. No, why can't I find it? I can find it. It's the very last thing you sent through, right? Segment, what is it? Segment what, Graham? 4?
This point is
Is it segment 4?
Making me look now.
Sade says, I guess so. Yeah, it is really, I suppose.
What's that?
No, I think she's just referring to some of the waffle I gave just now. She said, I guess so. Thanks for the opinion there. On that. I guess so. Graham, help.
Yeah, I'm getting now.
You can't even find it. He's lost it too.
No, I've got it in front of me, but it's in writing.
How is he working with that? You want to see what I'm working with? Actually, no, mine is tidy. I just can't find it. Oh, what, Graham, can you just tell me what segment we're on?
It is. Yeah, right. It's in segment 2.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's the first point.
Segment 2, first point. Oh, is that all we're on? Segment 2?
Is that right? No, hold on. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Ben, no, look, you've literally.
Hang on, deep breath. I know where we are.
No, I've gone too far.
You have gone too far. I'm here. It's me. I've got it. I found it. Believe it or not. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Do you remember the conversation around Beirut? Graham, that's got you back, innit?
Where's your notes on this?
In front of me. Yeah, so basically, Beirut, okay. So we had a big explosion in Beirut, didn't we? Not we, they. And a bit nasty, quite dramatic. Lots of footage went up on social media and got taken down again. Lots of discussion on the matter, breaking news, all the rest of it. But what's bizarre about this, Graham? I'm going to read the headline out for you guys. I hope you're with me on this, Graham, because I'm getting the feeling that I'm actually jumping ahead, and I don't think I am. I'm getting a look. No, right. So tons of ammonia, or ammonium nitrate, was discovered at Beirut port weeks after the same substance sparked devastating blast. So the moral of the story is this, so we had an explosion in Beirut. Obviously, it was very, very detrimental to particularly the local Beirut economy, and some suggested it was potentially a criminal attack or a terrorist attack, and others said no, it was an accident. And of course, they're still investigating. I think there's still information coming out about that now. But what's alarming is that yes, they have discovered that they found furthermore substance of ammonium nitrate being present in the area. What on earth is going on, Graham?
It was extremely worrying, isn't it? But just a few weeks ago, you had that massive explosion.
Yeah.
To do with the abandoned container ship, and then recently we had a major fire.
Yeah, of course.
to the entrance of the port area. And on investigation afterwards, that's when they found 4.35 tons of the highly explosive chemical,
Yeah, yeah.
ammonium nitrate, as known.
Well, the Lebanese president, Grem, has said that he promises to punish the perpetrators of the new Beirut fire, because there was a fire not recently ago, after the explosion happened. Not recent, not at that time, but after.
He's going to do that even if it's by accidental, isn't he?
That's right.
If it's negligence or sabotage, that these individuals will be dealt with swiftly.
Well, Lee says he's done, Grem. He says he's marked up all of his students' work, because he's a teacher, of course, and he is now listening to us. Cock it up again. Thanks, Lee. For those of you that don't know, Lee is our... what is he now? He's a guy. He's male. He's quite tall. He's kind of our teacher, really, Grem, isn't he? He's probably putting his hair up right now. But no, he's somebody that... what is he, Grem? I know what he is. What do we call him now? I mean, he's Lee, but what do we call him? What is his role in all this?
Well, he's part of our production.
Of course
team,
he is.
Isn't he?
No, but I mean, no, he's got too many roles. That's the trouble. He is basically running the show, really. Yeah, you are, Lee. You're running the show, isn't he?
He's helping myself with the writing of scripts.
Yeah.
And getting me to write better, and he's trying to control the other host, which is extremely difficult.
No, he is doing a good job. And Gary Anderson says, Lee, you're a savage, bro. He is a savage. He's a savage. He is.
He's a good guy. He's a good
He
guy.
is. He's a great guy. He's a good chap, and we're really grateful to have our involvement with him. Thanks, Lee, for putting up with us. And you do that very much. He doesn't even get paid. Not yet, anyway. Does he? No, I don't know. I can't speak about that.
Oh no, not yet. Eventually.
Yes. So anyway, Graham, what's the moral of the story here then? So yeah.
Well,
so
the moral of the story that these items were found after an inspection on the 2nd of September.
Yeah.
And it's all now been safely destroyed. And apparently the area is clear of it now. There's apparently no more. They did find some. They did find other flammable chemicals though in 143 containers scattered about the place. So
wow,
they've been dealt with as well. So the area apparently is safe-ish now, safe as an area can be. How safe can an area be? Because it all comes down to human behaviour and actions.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a bit bizarre, isn't it? How, if you make a mistake, you learn by it. And I think what maybe you could ask yourself is maybe those in Beirut aren't learning by a huge mistake which come about, whether accidental or on purpose, and yet more will come of that, and because it is being investigated. But of course, at least the Lebanese Prime Minister is certainly taking no soft approach to this, is he?
He's
but
a
it
president.
does.
He's a president.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Well, it's a form of terrorism in a sense, isn't it? I mean, even if it wasn't. But no, actually, no, it's a silly thing to say. No, sorry guys, I'll retract that. No, it's not a form of terrorism. If it wasn't a terrorist act, it could have been an accident, of course. But they do need to find out, and I think for those that do need to be sentenced to.
Yeah. There's homeland
exactly
terrorism, isn't there? So it's it's just a faction. But he's a president, not a prime minister. That's what I was getting across, but I don't think you understood that.
No.
Did you hear it?
I didn't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I heard the bang. Are you talking about the Beirut explosion?
I have spent the majority of today planning this. Right, we're moving on now.
We are, because I've got another topic for you, Grem, and I know where I am as well.
Yeah.
Comparison,
Yes.
Grem, it
Right.
says hang on a minute. He says, sorry, Graham. Lee says, comparison, we should expect an explosion like Beirut in the Docklands. Yeah, you're right. Because of the ammonium nitrate. I agree. Yeah, they need to get rid of that. They need to get rid of that. They know it's there. Get rid of it. What is it doing there? Don't learn. Don't take it from me. Graham, what's going on here?
They've removed it. Are we still on about Beirut? Are you talking about Docklands here?
I don't know. Lee, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the Docklands here in the United Kingdom? Or are you talking about the I hope we haven't got ammonium nitrate in our docks. That's the subject, isn't it?
Well, it's all apparently been removed. What the news reports.
Right.
Right.
Oh, Ben. Cheers, Sade. Right, okay, next topic. About time too, really. So, Lionel Messi, Graham, football. Oh dear, some says. We are talking about Barcelona, and we're talking about Lionel Messi's involvement with Barcelona. He has had a career with Barcelona since the word go. He came through their ranks. He's always stayed with them. He always said he would. But only recently he was talking about manufacturing a move away from the club, and that has caused some spark between himself, that is, and another member of the club, footballer in question. Messi's frustration boiled over on the pitch during his 3-1 friendly victory against Gymnastic on Sunday. With the Barca captain taking considerable umbrage with the man-marking role of opponent Javier Rebelles. I think it says Rebelles.
Rebelles.
Yeah. Well, it says Barcelona may have won the contract battle, but make no mistake, Lionel Messi will win. Lionel Messi will win the war. Basically, there has been some backlash in the dressing room from some fellow footballers in Barcelona for the wanting of Messi to go from the club and come back.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a talk, wasn't there, about this idea that he was going to join Manchester City in the United Kingdom, English football, and he, or should we say that he refused or declined the idea. I think the reason for it was, Graham, if I'm correct in saying, was there was a considerable amount of money involved, not just in the instance of Man City necessarily purchasing Lionel Messi, but actually from Barcelona's point of view, for the point being that he had such an involvement with Barcelona, and there was something to do with his contract, I'm sure to believe, where he or the club would have to pay additional fees for him to come to Manchester, and I think that's where it all fell through. I think it was actually not so much the club, i.e. Manchester City, that had to pay these fees, but it was actually Lionel Messi himself, and we're not talking of just a few £100, or even a few thousand at that matter. So I think he ended up believing it was right to stay at Barcelona. But then he realised that actually he loves the club and he doesn't want to cause any bad vibes with the club, and he believes that actually that was the right decision to make, to stay there because, well, he's Barcelona through and through. So the moral of that story is, Graham...
No, the moral of the story was about...
Pointless news.
As Ben said, doing the 3-1 friendly victory. Saturday the 12th of September.
Yeah.
I think you said Sunday, or did I misheard? I think I misheard you. Yeah. Well, the spat that happened on the pitch involved a little bit of shouting at each other, and also the conversation that was had was to the effect. Why was he compulsively kicking him, going around the pitch? You have to.
Did you say chicken, Graham?
Yeah.
What? As in roast chicken? What are you talking about?
Roast chicken.
Running around the pitch?
Yeah. Playing.
What?
They were playing a match.
Roast chicken?
I never said roast chicken.
Then what did you say? Chicken?
Ben, you're going to take this evening seriously? Or not?
What did you say, Graham? Please help me out. I thought you just said chicken running around the pitch.
I never said chicken running around the pitch.
Oh, okay. I thought you did. Okay, sorry. It was Sunday. No, it wasn't Sunday. It was Saturday, Graham. You're absolutely right. The match took place
Saturday the 12th.
on Saturday the 12th, Graham.
A spat broke out between the players Javier and was it like Linau? Linau. How do you pronounce that? Right, moving on.
Moving on. Oh, Ben. Gary Anderson says. So does Sade. Oh, dear. Lee is saying, I'm saving it. It's a disaster. Safe management would... no, right. So basically he's saying... I'm saying, Lee says, it's a disaster. In safe management, would it have happened here? Probably not. No, Lee. That's the point, isn't it? Because we have a huge thing about health and safety in the United Kingdom, don't we? Everything is crossed tick box and cross dot the I's and all this sort of thing. And... you know, we have health and safety around lifting up boxes. So I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have happened here. I agree with you, Lee. So if we have got ammonium nitrate sitting in the docks somewhere, whether we know it or not, I'm pretty sure we'd be okay. And I think we were one to... you know, do you remember, Graham? Do you remember Dymchurch? No, it's not Dymchurch. It's Dungeness. Do you remember Dungeness Power Station? They took that away from service, didn't they? Because of the fears of danger of nuclear power. Am I right in saying? And so, yeah, so we take the necessary need for safety, don't we, in the United Kingdom? We don't take any risks. Or is it because actually, Graham, have I got that wrong? Isn't it not because actually nuclear power stations do come to the end of their life? And it was just coming to the end of its life and it was decommissioned?
Shh.
You